One wrong click. Her video for her ex was sent to the billionaire boss. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us go back to our main character. The soft hum of conversation drifts through the restaurant, silverware tapping porcelain in a steady rhythm. Warm light pools over linen-covered tables, making every plate look like a small work of art. From the outside, reflected in the glossy glass, she pauses. The reflection does not lie. A second-hand dress, carefully pressed. Shoes with faint scuffs at the toes. Hands that will not stop trembling. She exhales and whispers to herself that she promised her best friend she would try. Just once. Inside, the air smells like butter and citrus. The host smiles, polished and effortless, and points her toward the dining room. Her phone buzzes in her palm. A message from her friend reads, "Table 7. He is already there. You will do great." She swallows, nods, and steps forward. Table numbers blur as her heart begins to pound. 7. She repeats it like a charm. 7. 7. Near the back, a man sits alone at a small round table. Dark hair, neatly styled. A tailored jacket. His attention is fixed on his phone, brows drawn in concentration. He looks up as she approaches, surprised for half a second, then curious. She forces a smile that feels too big for her face. "Hi. You must be Kevin. I am Emma. It is nice to meet you." The words tumble out faster than she intends. She slides into the chair across from him before he can speak, folding her hands together so he will not see them shake. The man blinks, clearly caught off guard. He glances at the empty place setting, then back at her. For a moment, it seems like he might correct her. His phone vibrates again on the table. He glances down, reads something, and the tension in his shoulders eases. When he looks back up, there is a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. "Right," he says gently. "Blind dates are something else." Relief washes over her. She laughs, a nervous sound that comes out too loud. "They really are. My friend said, you might be quiet, so I hope you do not mind if I talk too much. I do that when I am nervous." She reaches for her water and takes a quick sip, then another. "I mean, not that I am nervous. Well, I am, but that is normal, right?" He watches her with an expression she cannot quite read. It is not judgment. It is not boredom. If anything, it looks like interest. "It is normal," he says. "You can talk. I am a good listener." Menus arrive. She scans the prices and tries not to flinch. She tells herself she will order something small. He notices the hesitation, the way her finger lingers at the edge of the page. He does not comment. "So," she says, setting the menu down, "what do you do?" Her cheeks warm as soon as she asks. It feels like an interview question, too heavy for a first meeting. He hesitates. "I work in technology," he answers, choosing his words carefully. Her eyes brighten. "Like apps and coding and all of that?" She grins. "I am terrible with computers. I still forget my passwords." "Something like that," he replies, amused. She relaxes, leaning back slightly. "I am a waitress," she says, owning it before he can ask. "Not glamorous, but it pays most of the bills. I am saving for something bigger someday." She does not say what. Not yet. Conversation begins to flow, easy and unexpected. She talks about late shifts and aching feet, about sketching in the park on her days off. He asks thoughtful questions, listens without interrupting. He tells her small stories, carefully ordinary ones, leaving out the parts that would change everything. For the first time that evening, she forgets to watch the clock. And across the table, the man she believes is Kevin decides, just for tonight, to let the mistake continue. The conversation at the table continues, but beneath Emma's easy laughter, there is a quiet tension she carries everywhere. It sits in her shoulders, in the way her eyes flick to the menu prices before returning to his face. When the waiter asks if they are ready to order, she hesitates just a second too long. "I am fine with something small," she says quickly, offering an apologetic smile. "I ate earlier." It is not a lie. It is just incomplete. Most nights, Emma finishes her shift with aching feet and the smell of coffee still clinging to her hair. She works double shifts whenever she can. Not because she loves the diner, but because overtime means groceries for the week. It means rent paid on time. It means one less reminder notice taped to her door. She does not talk about that part at the table. Instead, she talks about customers who tip in loose change, about the regular who always asks for extra lemons, about the way the jukebox sometimes eats quarters. The man across from her listens, really listens, as if these details matter. They do to her. What he does not know is that this dinner feels like a risk she could not afford. The dress she is wearing came from a thrift store 3 blocks from her apartment. She fixed the hem herself with borrowed thread. The shoes pinched when she walked in, but she ignored it. She needed to feel normal tonight. Just for an hour. When he asks where she lives, she pauses, then answers vaguely. Not far. A small place. She does not mention the narrow staircase, the radiator that knocks all night, or the envelope from her landlord waiting on the counter. She does not mention that she promised herself she would not cry about money this week. The waiter returns with bread. Emma thanks him like it matters. She always thanks people. It is a habit she picked up when life taught her how quickly kindness disappears if you do not protect it. Across from her, the man notices these things. He notices how she straightens when she speaks about work, how she never complains without turning it into a joke. He notices the way she folds her napkin carefully, like she is afraid of making a mess in a place she does not belong. "What are you saving for?" he asks gently, remembering her words. She looks surprised, then laughs softly. "A dream," she says. "Is that too vague?" Not at all. She considers him for a moment, then decides to answer honestly. "I like to draw. I always have. I sketch people on the bus, buildings, hands. Someday I want a small studio. Nothing fancy. Just a space where I can create without worrying about the clock." She says it quickly, as if the words might embarrass her if they linger too long. He nods, thoughtful. He does not smile politely. He does not dismiss it. That alone feels rare. What Emma does not see is how much effort it takes for him to remain seated there, pretending this night is ordinary. His world is measured in boardrooms and deadlines, not in tips and rent. Yet something about her makes him want to stay right where he is, inside this simpler version of the evening. For Emma, the stakes are painfully clear. If this night goes badly, it is just another reminder that people like her are visitors in places like this. If it goes well, it is still only a moment, one she will return from to the same small apartment and the same worries waiting in the morning. She does not expect anything from him. Not really. She is not here to be rescued. She just wants to be seen as enough. As the plates arrive and the restaurant hums around them, Emma relaxes into the conversation, unaware that this simple dinner, born from a small mistake, is quietly setting her on a path where everything she believes about power, honesty, and belonging will soon be tested. When dinner ends, Emma thanks him again, perhaps more than necessary. Outside, the night air feels cooler, heavier with traffic and distant sirens. She pulls her jacket tighter around herself and shifts her bag on her shoulder. It is worn, soft at the edges, the kind of bag that has been everywhere with her. "I should go," she says, glancing at her phone. "Early shift tomorrow." He nods, respectful. "I had a good time." She smiles, surprised by how much that simple sentence means. "Me too." As she turns, the strap of her bag slips. She reaches for it too late. The zipper opens, and the contents spill onto the sidewalk. A wallet, a pencil case, loose receipts. Emma freezes. For a moment, the world feels too quiet. She steps forward quickly. "I am sorry. That is nothing." He bends and picks it up before she can stop him. The page is filled with charcoal lines, confident and alive. A pair of hands resting on a diner counter, the curve of a coffee cup, Shadows carefully shaped, patient, and deliberate. "This is yours?" he asks. Her face warms. "Yes, it is just something I do when I have time." He does not hand it back immediately. He studies the drawing with genuine focus, not the polite glance she is used to. "You are very good." She lets out a breath she did not realize she was holding. "Thank you." Most people say it is a waste of time. He looks up. It is not. Those 3 words land quietly but firmly. Emma takes the sketchbook back, clutching it to her chest for a second before tucking it safely into her bag. "I draw when things feel too loud," she admits. "It helps me remember who I am." He considers that. That matters. They walk together for a block, unhurried. She tells him about sketching on bus rides, about drawing strangers she will never meet again. He listens like each detail fits into a larger picture he wants to understand. At the corner, she stops. "This is me. It's 7 Diaz." He hesitates, then says, "Maybe we could do this again. Coffee, somewhere less expensive." She laughs, relieved. "I would like that." They part ways. Emma walks toward the subway, the city swallowing her up again. When she reaches the platform, she pulls the sketchbook out once more and flips to a blank page. Without thinking too much, she sketches the outline of a man sitting alone at a table, light falling across his hands. She does not know why she does it. She only knows it feels important. Across town, the man she believes is Kevin stands at the window of his penthouse office, the city spread out below him in glittering lines. He has not thought about charcoal drawings or thrift store dresses in years, yet her words echo in his mind. When things feel too loud, he realizes, with a quiet certainty, that tonight was not small at all. And neither was the mistake that brought them together. The coffee shop is nothing like the restaurant. The floor creaks when the door opens. The air smells like burnt espresso and cinnamon. A handwritten sign near the counter promises free refills after 10 o'clock. Emma arrives early. Not because she is eager, but because being late makes her anxious. She chooses a small table by the window and sets her bag at her feet. Outside, buses sigh to a stop, and people hurry past with their collars turned up. This place feels safe, affordable, familiar. When he walks in, she recognizes him immediately. No tailored jacket this time, just dark jeans and a simple sweater. He scans the room until he sees her, then smiles in a way that feels easier than before. "Hi," he says. "Hi," she replies, standing up too fast and knocking her knee against the table. She laughs it off, embarrassed. "Sorry, I do that a lot." They order at the counter. Emma insists on paying for her own coffee. He does not argue. She appreciates that more than she expects. They sit, cups warming their hands. The noise of the espresso machine fills the pauses, so there is no pressure to speak right away. Emma finds herself relaxing, her shoulders dropping inch by inch. "This feels more my speed," she admits, gesturing around them. "I thought so," he says. "You mentioned wanting something less expensive." She studies him, curious. "You pay attention." "I try." They talk about small things at first. Favorite pastries. Morning routines. The way the city feels different before sunrise. Emma tells him about the early shift she worked that morning, about a customer who left a thank you note folded into the tip jar. She smiles when she talks about it, like it matters. "It does," he says quietly. She looks at him. "What?" "Those moments. They matter." She nods, surprised again by how easily he seems to understand her. "Most people do not think so." "I am not most people," he replies, then pauses, as if checking himself. He asks about her sketchbook, not in a way that feels intrusive, just curious. Emma hesitates, then pulls it out, opening to a page filled with quick studies of faces. She points to one. "That was a man on the subway. He never noticed me drawing. Thanks for watching." He leans in, careful not to touch. "You notice things other people miss." She shrugs. "Someone has to." For him, this afternoon feels like stepping into a life he never lived. No assistants, no agendas, just coffee cooling on the table and a woman who talks about drawing like it is a lifeline. "What about you?" she asks. "You still have not told me much." He smiles, choosing his words. "My days are usually busy. Meetings, decisions, people asking for things." She nods. "That sounds exhausting." "It is," he admits. "This is quieter." Emma considers that. "You can always choose quieter," she says, not realizing how much weight her words carry. They stay longer than planned. When they finally stand to leave, the light outside has shifted. Afternoon leaning toward evening, as they step onto the sidewalk, Emma feels something unfamiliar settle in her chest. Not hope exactly. Something steadier. Like permission to be herself without apology. She does not know that this ordinary afternoon is exactly what he will remember later, when everything becomes complicated. It happens gradually, without a clear invitation. Coffee becomes a walk becomes a habit. Emma stops thinking of their time together as something separate from her life and starts folding him into it, carefully, the way she does with everything she values. On a quiet Sunday, she leads him down a narrow street, lined with brick buildings and faded awnings. "I want to show you something," she says, already half embarrassed. "It is not impressive." "I am not looking for impressive," he replies. Her apartment is on the third floor of a building that smells faintly of old paint and laundry soap. The stairwell light flickers. She apologizes for it before he can say anything. When she unlocks the door, it sticks for a moment. She pushes harder, then steps aside. "Welcome," she says. The space is small. A couch that has seen better years. A table that doubles as a desk. Sunlight spills through a single window, catching dust in the air. On the far wall, her sketches are taped in careful rows, held up by mismatched pieces of tape. She watches his face, bracing herself. He takes it all in slowly. The drawings. The chipped mug on the counter filled with pencils. The quiet order of someone who owns very little, but treats it all with care. "You live here alone?" he asks. She nods. "Most of the time." She puts water on for tea, moving automatically. This is her routine. Familiar? Safe. She tells him where to sit, then laughs when she realizes she is acting like a host instead of herself. "I am sorry," she says. "I do not get visitors often." "I can tell," he answers gently. She meets his eyes, surprised. That is the nicest thing anyone has ever said about it. They sit at the small table, knees almost touching. She pours tea into mismatched cups. One has a hairline crack. She turns it so he will not notice, then realizes he already has and does not care. "This is where I draw," she says, gesturing to the corner by the window. The light is best in the morning. He imagines her there. Sketchbook open, the city waking up below. The thought stays with him. She tells him more than she planned. About growing up watching her mother stretch dollars until they nearly broke. About learning early that asking for help came with a price. About deciding, quietly, that she would rather struggle honestly than be comfortable by pretending to be someone else. He listens. He does not interrupt. When she pauses, he waits. "I do not want a big life," she says finally. "I just want a real one." Something shifts in him at those words. In his world, everything is large, loud, urgent. Here, in this small room, her certainty feels like something he has been missing without knowing it. Later, they walk to the corner market together. She buys vegetables, counting bills in her palm. He carries the bag without comment. At the register, she thanks the cashier by name. Outside, she laughs at herself for waving too enthusiastically. "Everyone here knows you," he says. She shrugs. "I try to be kind. It makes the days easier." For him, this is the moment. Not the dinner. Not the coffee. This. Watching her move through her world with quiet dignity, never asking for more than she earns. When they part that evening, he stands on the sidewalk longer than necessary, watching her disappear up the stairs. He realizes that what he feels is not curiosity anymore. It is respect. And in a place filled with power and pretense, that is the most dangerous thing of all. The invitation arrives on a Wednesday afternoon, tucked between utility bills and a grocery receipt in Emma's mailbox. The envelope is thick, cream-colored, her name printed neatly on the front. She assumes it is a mistake at first. Inside is a formal card. A charity gala. Black tie optional. A fundraiser supporting local arts education. At the bottom, a handwritten note reads, "I would like you to come with me." Emma reads it twice, then a third time. Her first instinct is to say no. Events like this belong to another world, one with rules she does not know. But the cause pulls at her. Art for children. Opportunity. Possibility. She texts him that evening. "Are you sure?" His reply comes quickly. "Yes. I would not ask if it did not matter." The night of the gala, the city feels different. Streets are closed. Valets line the curb. Cameras flash in the distance. Emma steps out of the rideshare and immediately regrets her decision. Her dress is simple, borrowed from a coworker. Her shoes are sensible, not glamorous. She smooths the fabric over her knees and tells herself she is here for the cause, nothing more. He meets her at the entrance. Tonight, he looks sharper than she has ever seen him. Tailored suit. Confident posture. The air around him seems to shift as people notice his arrival. "You look nice," he says, sincere. She manages a smile. "You look like you belong here." Inside, the room hums with energy. Crystal glasses clink. Laughter rises and falls. Emma feels every inch of the distance between herself and the crowd. She keeps close to him, grateful for his calm presence. They move through the space slowly. People greet him by name. Important names. Familiar names. Each introduction lands heavier than the last. Emma begins to feel a tightening in her chest she cannot explain. Then it happens. The lights dim slightly. A host steps onto the stage and taps the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. We are honored to welcome our guest of honor, the founder and chief executive officer whose generosity made this evening possible." And 1, 2, Emma turns toward him instinctively, ready to clap. The name is spoken clearly, confidently. His name. The applause is immediate, thunderous. The room rises to its feet. Emma does not. Her hands freeze mid-motion. Her ears ring. For a moment, she thinks she has misheard. Then she sees the way people look at him. Not casually, not kindly, with recognition, with respect, with expectation. He steps forward toward the stage. The lights find him. The smile he offers, the crowd is familiar, practiced. The smile of someone who knows this world well. Emma feels the ground shift beneath her. Every conversation replays in her mind. The restaurant, the coffee shop, her apartment. The way he listened, the way he never corrected her. A hot flush rises up her neck. Embarrassment. Anger. Something sharper than both. This is who he is. Not Kevin. Not ordinary. Not someone who accidentally wandered into her life. A billionaire. She backs away slowly, the noise of the room fading into a dull roar. She finds herself near the edge of the ballroom, pressed against a marble column. Her reflection stares back at her from a mirrored wall, small and out of place. On stage, his speech is polished. Grateful. Purposeful. He speaks about responsibility. About giving back. About the power of honesty. The words sting. When the applause comes again, she slips out through a side door, the night air hitting her like a wave. Her hands shake as she wraps her coat around herself. She does not wait for him to follow. Inside, he finishes speaking and scans the room, already searching. She is gone, and for the first time since he decided to let the mistake continue, he understands the cost of that choice. Emma does not go far. She walks until the noise of the gala fades, until the streetlights feel ordinary again. Her breath comes too fast. Each step heavy with realization. She stops near a quiet block and presses her hand to her chest, willing her heartbeat to slow. She feels foolish. Not because she believed him, but because she trusted the space between them to be equal. Her phone vibrates. Once. Then again. She does not look. Inside the ballroom, he steps down from the stage, applause still echoing behind him. His eyes search instinctively for her face, for the place where she had been standing. The space is empty, a cold understanding settles in. He finds her outside minutes later, just as she reaches the corner. She hears his footsteps before she sees him. "Emma," he says, careful, as if approaching something fragile. She turns. The city hums around them, traffic passes. Somewhere, a siren wails and disappears. "So this is who you are," she says quietly. There is no accusation in her voice, only disappointment. "And you never thought to tell me." He opens his mouth, then closes it. "I wanted to," he says. "At first, then it felt like it would change everything." "It did change everything," she replies. "Just not for you." She looks at him fully now. The suit, the confidence, the world that bends toward him without asking. "Do you know what it feels like," she continues, "to realize that every moment you thought was real came with a power imbalance you never agreed to?" "That was never my intention," he says. "I never meant to make you feel small." But you did," she answers. "Not by who you are, by what you chose not to say." He takes a step closer. She does not move. "I liked being ordinary with you," he admits. "I liked that you did not see me as this." She laughs once, bitter and surprised. "You had the privilege of being ordinary. I did not. I was always me, the whole time." Silence stretches between them. The truth sits heavy in the air. "I did not ask for anything from you," she says. "I did not want your money, your access, your world. I wanted honesty and facture." He nods, pain evident now. "You are right." She exhales slowly, steadying herself. "I need to go." "Please," he says, the word unfamiliar on his tongue. "Let me explain. Let me make this right." She shakes her head. "Not tonight, maybe not ever." She meets his eyes, resolute. "I need to know that what I feel is mine to choose, not influenced by what you can offer." She turns away before he can answer. Each step she takes feels like reclaiming something she almost gave up. Her phone vibrates again. This time, she silences it. He stands alone on the sidewalk, watching her disappear into the night. For the first time, there is no board to answer to, no problem to solve with resources. Only the consequence of a choice he made when he decided to stay silent. And for Emma, walking away is not a loss. It is a declaration. Days pass without a message. Emma returns to her routines with a precision that surprises even her. Morning shifts, long walks home. Evenings spent sketching by the window while the city settles into itself. She tells herself she is fine. She repeats it until it almost sounds true. At work, a rumor begins to circulate quietly, then louder. A new initiative. An anonymous donor funding a local arts program. A gallery space being renovated downtown, not for profit, not for prestige, but for emerging artists who have never had a door opened for them. Emma hears about it from a coworker, then from a customer, then from a flyer taped to the community board near her apartment. She does not connect it to him. Not yet. Meanwhile, he moves differently through his world. There are no public apologies, no interviews, no dramatic statements. Instead, meetings are canceled, contracts are reviewed. One partnership, the one tied to the man who once belittled Emma at her workplace, is quietly terminated. Compliance teams move in, policies are enforced. Consequences follow. He does not tell her any of this. What he does do is remember. He remembers the sketchbook slipping from her bag. The way she said drawing helped her remember who she was. He remembers her apartment wall, covered in taped pages that never asked for permission to exist. So he builds something that does not have his name on it. On a Friday evening, Emma receives an envelope at work. No return address. Inside is a simple card with a time and a place. No explanation. Just a note in familiar handwriting. If you choose to come, I will understand either way. She almost throws it away. Almost. The space is modest, renovated but not polished. White walls. Natural light. The smell of fresh paint still lingering. Emma steps inside and stops short. Her drawings line the walls. Not copies. Originals. The diner hands. The bus riders. The man at the table, light falling across his fingers. Her breath catches. She turns slowly, heart pounding, trying to understand how this could be happening. He stands near the back of the room, not approaching, not watching her too closely. When she finally looks at him, he does not speak right away. "I did not open this for you," he says at last. "I opened it because of you." She swallows. "You took my work without asking." "I asked the only way that felt honest," he replies. "By giving you the choice to walk away." She looks around again. A small plaque near the entrance explains the mission. Free space. No fees. Artists keep full ownership. Community funded. "You used your power," she says slowly, "without putting me in your debt." "Yes." Silence settles between them, different from before. Softer. Earned. "I am not asking you to forgive me," he continues. "I am not asking for anything. I wanted to return what I took when I stayed silent. Control. Dignity. The truth." She studies him, searching for expectation. There is none. Finally, she nods once. "This is how you say sorry." He exhales, the tension easing just a fraction. They stand side by side, looking at the art. At her life, translated into lines and shadows. For the first time since the night of the gala, Emma feels something settle back into place. Not trust. Not yet, but possibility. The gallery does not become a headline. There is no ribbon cutting, no speeches. It opens quietly, like Emma prefers things to begin. Over the next weeks, she visits often, sometimes alone, sometimes with other artists who hesitate at the door the same way she once did. She watches them relax when they realize no one is judging them. No one is asking them to be anything else. She keeps her job at the diner. For now. She still counts tips at the end of her shift, still thanks people by name. The difference is subtle but real. When she walks home, she feels steadier, as if her feet finally know where they belong. He does not rush her. Days pass, then more. When they speak, it is brief. Honest. No assumptions. No pressure. He asks permission before offering help. Sometimes, she says no. He accepts it. One evening, after the gallery closes, Emma stays behind to clean up. The sun dips low, painting the walls in soft gold. She is adjusting a frame when she hears footsteps behind her. He stands at the doorway, hands in his pockets, looking less like a billionaire and more like the man who once listened to her talk about bus rides and sketchbooks. "I did not want to interrupt," he says. She nods. "You are not." They walk through the space together, slow and unhurried. They stop in front of the first drawing she ever made here, the one that started everything. "I used to think the mistake was sitting at the wrong table," Emma says. "I was wrong. He looks at her, attentive. "What was it then?" "Thinking I did not deserve the truth," she answers. "From anyone." He absorbs that quietly. "You do." They stand in silence for a moment. Outside, the city hums, indifferent and alive. "I am not afraid of who you are," she continues. "I am afraid of losing myself." "You will not," he says, certain now. "Not with me." She turns to face him fully. This time, there is no imbalance, no spotlight. Just two people, choosing how close to stand. "If we do this," she says, careful with each word, "it is because I choose you, not because of what you can give. Not because of what you represent." "I would not want it any other way," he replies. She studies his face, searching for the man she met first. The listener. The one who sat quietly and let her be herself. She finds him there. Emma reaches into her bag and pulls out her sketchbook. She opens it to the first page. The one she has never shown anyone. A rough drawing of two people sitting across from each other at a small table. She smiles softly. "Best mistake I ever made." He smiles back, not triumphant, not relieved. Grateful. They lock up together and step into the night. Side by side. Equal. And as they walk, Emma knows something for certain. Love, like art, is not about perfection. It is about honesty. About choosing, every day, to see and be seen. That is the story she is finally ready to draw.